you don't really hear about African love that much. You might have heard of black love, but that's different. That's mostly for African Americans or maybe even black people in Europe. You might never have heard of white love, but you've definitely seen it. The Titanic, La La Land, Romeo and Juliet. If you ever use the words Africa and love together, you're probably talking about the land, the animals, the culture, the music, the art, but you never really hear of two Africans falling in love. I think there's a reason for that. Division. It all goes back to colonization. The white man wanted to divide us from the roots. When he took over the continent, gender roles were cemented. They were no longer complementary. Patriarchal norms were set up. Men were taken away from their families to work in mines and plantations. Missionaries policed intimacy and sexuality. Songs and stories about love were labeled as pagan and primitive. Now Africans struggle to show affection for each other. Personally, I've never seen my parents show that they love each other. There's a sense of veiled compassion. They are held together by marriage, this invisible force that says that they have to stay together till the day they die. But the warmth, the fondness, the tenderness, those are things I've never seen, only to be shown in private. In modern day Africa, there are countless stories from primary schools of crackdowns on romantic relationships. For my school, several pairs of boys and girls were whipped in the dining hall every year. You could hear the screams, blood curdling. You never wanted to be caught, especially if you were too young to know why they were being punished. You never really hear of such things happening at such a scale in other parts of the world. When you hit puberty, you're probably taught to be careful, but nobody makes you feel like having feelings for someone else is taboo. That love is taboo. Maybe someone would report you. Maybe a teacher will find a note you left on the floor. It didn't really matter. They will always find a way. What do you think that does to a young mind? A whole generation. Maybe they thought shame would stop us from being reckless. But all it did was push those actions so dark. 2 children in my class once exchanged sexual favors for 20 shillings. They weren't even teenagers. I had never been caught up in these scandals. I wondered what it was like. I had friends who told me stories, but to me love was just a fantasy. Never something that could happen to me. I could tell you about the countless times I got rejected, but I don't want to tell them, and you don't want to hear them. 23-year-old man still holding on to a decade's worth of heartbreak. It's just sad. Some of these girls are married now. Some of them have kids. I wish I could tell you I moved on, but the truth is, those experiences left a lasting mark on me. They taught me that I could never be loved by another person because I was already wedded to loneliness. Love was something I was destined to chase but never find. The rejections were because there was something wrong with me. I had already been set down the path I walk now, riddled with mental health issues. I looked for love in other people because I could never see it in myself. As a teenager, one of my therapists told me that I wouldn't know self-love if it hit me in the face. I still struggle with this to this day. 26th November was the day I met my girlfriend. My brother had put out an album a few months before, and I got a ticket to the live performance. There were 2 free tickets. I got the first one, and her boyfriend at the time gave her the other. I was talking to him when she appeared. Slender, 5'2", silver and pink glasses, blue denim jackets. She had long black braids and a tiny mole on the right side of her nose. Noticing how quiet I was, she spoke to me. She's come to say that I have a resting beach face, that I seemed upset or lonely something, and was on my own, and it made her want to talk to me. You heard it here first, folks. Suffering will bring you female attention. But I don't really agree because I was talking to people and trying to have fun that day. But I remember wondering why she was so eager to speak to me. It was strange. Regardless, I obliged. We spent hours in conversation. Me, her, and another girl we met that day. It was easy to talk to her. It was like we had a kinship. Like I had known her all my life. Like she was a distant companion in another life that I had completely forgotten about. And here she was, appearing out of the ether to talk to me about cartoons. Later that night, we went to get some food. The streets were quiet and dark. Barely any cars drove past. I wondered why she felt safe with me, a complete stranger. Perhaps she trusted me. Perhaps she wanted to keep the conversation going. Perhaps she just didn't care. Regardless, by the end of the night, I got her number. Happy to have made a new friend. I told myself I wasn't going to mess it up. That I would only think of her as a friend and nothing more. Finding out that the guy that she was with that day was her boyfriend was a blow. This was probably where a younger version of me would have messed everything up, holding on to what I wanted, a romantic relationship. But she wasn't going to throw away what she already had just for some guy she had just met. And that was okay. I wish I could communicate how it felt. A link that went beyond the soul. At first, when we texted, we would talk about 5 or 6 different things at the same time. ADHD-like conversations. This was the first thing we bonded over, that we both had it. She shared my opinions, I shared her interests, but we were just different enough to keep things interesting. Like music, I loved hip-hop and she loved R&B. But what surprised me the most was how easy it was to see her. In the past, whenever I wanted to hang out with a friend, usually a female friend, it would take days or even weeks of prior planning. But with her, we just went to a mall, grabbed some snacks, talked and walked around for a few hours, and that was enough. There was no need for music, a movie or a meal to distract from the silence. In a scene from the movie Pulp Fiction, Uma Thurman's character, Mia Wallace, says,
"Why do we feel it's necessary to yak about bullshit in order to be comfortable? That's when you know you found somebody really special. And you can just shut the fuck up for a minute, comfortably share silence."
In those moments, I never felt like I needed to say anything. She didn't seem to either. It was nice, special. For 4 or 5 hours, I would sit across from her and feel completely accepted. I could talk about anything without fear of judgment. Soon, it would get dark and we'd have to say our goodbyes, but we'd always find a way of staying together. Eventually, the mall would start closing and we'd have to leave. I always went home with a smile on my face. Not just because there were so many funny moments we had together, but because I was genuinely happy. There were no tears, but vulnerability was potent. Our time together was like a warm hug. We began mall hopping and planned to go to every mall in Nairobi. On one of these hangouts, we had taken several pictures together. There were a few of her in the ice cream aisle, picking up a Dairyland mini Fiesta caramel chocolate ice cream. One of me, beaming at her from checkout. This really funny grin on my face. When we sat down, I looked down at the table. A yellow-brown bag of Ola tortilla chips stared back at me. This was how we decided on the name of our playlist, The Snack Factory. Some of these pictures form the artwork, a collage of different snacks with the logo in the middle. But I'm a stupid man. And what do stupid men do when they form deep connections with women? I asked her to be my girlfriend, and she said no. But she was so nice and gentle when she did it. It was easy to let go. Time passed, we moved on. It was maybe a year later that I asked again. The more time we spent together though, the more I knew we belonged together. It was also not easy to know where we stood because she would constantly give me mixed signals. We went to a vintage record store. Some white guy's house sitting in the middle of the CBD. He thought we were together. He would yell, "Love is in the air," at the top of his lungs. Every time he did it, she looked so embarrassed. He made us hold hands and took a photo. It was awkward on multiple levels. She could tell that there was something in the air. When eventually I spit out the question, she said no again. She said she had just left her relationship, one that I knew very little about because knowing that she was in someone else's arms had too much. She had also been suspended from university and was going through so much. She couldn't commit to a relationship. But at the end of the day, she didn't feel the same way about me. And there was no hiding it. It was hard to accept. Over the past 2 years, I'd come to see her as my soulmate. With her, the depression burned away. She was my person. To learn that she didn't see me the same way was more heartbreaking than the rejection. For me, it was never about the romance. I wanted a companion, and when she said she wasn't that, it hurt me to my core. It was agony. We could be best friends, she said. With time, I came to realize that it was unfair for me to expect her to view our relationship the exact same way I did. We had different experiences in life and we were different people. She viewed us as best friends and that meant so much to me. In a way, I got the companionship I had been seeking. I went through this kind of period of self-reflection. Did I actually have feelings for her? Am I just confusing our connection for something romantic? I changed. I matured as a person. I stopped being so stuck in my ways. My life went into freefall. During this time, we couldn't really see each other. Instead, we had these incredibly long phone calls. We were there for each other at every step. She struggled a lot and so did I. Though separate, we found a way to be together. She was my Valentine in 2025. We wore matching clothes, just something simple. Black t-shirt, blue jeans, grey Nikes. That morning, she was at my place doing my hair. When she finished, we stood in front of the mirror. We turned to face each other. The way the sun hit her skin, the way it hit her eyes, I'd say it made her more beautiful, but that's physically impossible. I don't know how long we stared into each other's eyes, but it felt like eternity. If magic is real, it's her. Not a spell, not an incantation, magic itself. One night, she got drunk and sent me a voice note that eventually led to the start of our relationship. We were inevitable. It was dark when I kissed her. At night, I felt her curves. I held her body tighter than ever before. Two broken people, lost and bleeding, we found each other that night. We were real to each other that night. I found my partner that night. She was my love. She was my everything. We gave comfort to each other that night. We wiped each other's tears that night. And the happiness, it didn't fade away. In so many ways, it grew. This was my love story. And she was my partner, my companion, my other half, forever. But African love has to fight to exist. African love has to be ashamed. One day in July, we went to a mall. We bought some snacks and had a picnic by the water. We lay on the ground, her head on my lap. We kissed twice. Two little smooches that nobody ever saw. It could have been a perfect date, but two security guards stood in front of us, their figures imposing. They shamed us, telling us that families were around and we were being indecent. They told us to spare our Ludax for closed doors and threatened to take us to the management. Suddenly I transformed to my younger self. This was what I had wanted after all, wasn't it? I felt what my classmates had felt all those years back. It was humiliating, because African love was an abomination. We denied it, of course, but they said they had us on the security cameras, that we had to go write a statement. Then it came to me, an immense anger. I was furious. My hands were shaking. Why were we being shamed? If a white couple kissed on the grounds of this mall, would they be harassed? What about an older couple? But because we were young, they had to strip us of our dignity. Our kissing wasn't indecent. It wasn't an abomination. It wasn't even PDA because nobody was there. Nobody was looking. We thought we were alone. And we weren't even all over each other. It wasn't like we had removed all our clothes right there and started having sex. If we go with you, what are we even going to write as our statements? That we kissed? Did we break a law? They pressed us, but I wasn't budging. What will you write as our statements? I kept repeating. They told us about actual public indecency incidents, showed us pictures, but after seeing that they couldn't shame us, they just left us alone. I've struggled to write this piece, and even after finishing it, I struggle to edit it. That's why it sounds so messy. It's a very difficult subject for me, because at this time, my love isn't with me. It's been difficult for us for a while. I got stuck in this transition period, a tornado formed around my unemployment, an impossible hell. My life is constantly crumbling and rebuilding itself, each time worse than the last. I don't know what I'm living for anymore. I need her, but she's struggling with things she won't tell me about. She's terrible at communicating. I thought maybe if I leave her be, if I let her find the solutions to her problems on her own, she'll be okay. She'll come back to me. But it's been several weeks of this and I don't see it getting any better. The loneliness, it's suffocating. It hurts to know that she's in pain but not having the power to do anything about it. It's paralyzing. I'm terrible at portraying romantic relationships. In the past, I've portrayed the other person as this flawless goddess that could do no wrong, and myself as a servant worth nothing. Maybe to appeal to them, maybe out of some sense of inferiority. But the truth is never so black and white. I also failed to tell you about the problems. Things have happened to my girlfriend that I have no right to tell you. But she struggles with companionship. She struggles to show love. Life has taught her to be independent, so when she struggles, she pulls away. When I need her, she doesn't know what to do because she doesn't understand how to be there for her partner. Maybe her way of trusting me is showing me who she really is, flaws and all. Does anyone know her like I do? How narcissistic of me to assume that I know what's going on in her mind. The truth is I don't know. She might have already left and I'm holding on to her corpse, letting my body get dragged along the asphalt. She asked me why I stay. She says she had abandonment issues in the past and she knows what it's like. I told her I don't. I told her I hold on because of what we are to each other, how happy we make each other, that I wasn't going to throw away our long, lovely and passion-filled relationship because of a time of struggle. But I do have abandonment issues. I recognize that I'm repeating a cycle. I hold on to people too long. I hold on even though it brings me great pain. I hold on because I know nothing else. The world outside this love is vast and cold. I know it too well. So I stay. I don't want to be alone. But two things can be true at the same time. I do love her. And I do think it's unfair to throw away what we have because it got tough. Not even to be together, just because it got tough. A few days before writing this, 2 songs were released. Oxygen and Saturation by Porchlight. In succession, they sound like a conversation between me and my love. This is a portion of the lyrics. Can you promise me something, darling? But will you love me till it hurts? I can't reach you now, but even all my doubts are saying that we should make this work. Lost in saturation, I need your love in full color. It's just not fair. You're slipping from me now. You're making it seem like I know what you want. I'm not what you want. Swallowing bad habits, abusing the shape I'm in. I won't let this side of me become the way I am. I'd rather be on my own. It's how I've always been. It's how I've always been. I see the way I've been. Picture me calling her every day for an entire week to no success. Picture her seeing those missed calls, maybe even looking at her phone as it rings, but doing nothing. She'd rather stay in this cycle of consumption. But who am I to judge? I do the same thing. I'm an Ouroboros too. In the song Sober to Death by Cassie Tedhurst, the singer Will Toledo repeats the words, "Don't worry, me and you won't be alone no more," 12 times, as the instrumental sounds like it's breaking apart and crumbling at every guitar strum. This moment has always brought me to tears. I wished someone would tell me those words. that no matter how much pain I'm in, no matter what they do to push me away, I will never abandon them. I cried knowing that nobody will ever tell me those words, that I might as well just tell them to myself. I surrendered to the belief that I will always be alone, that I am wedded to loneliness. And if that's the case, then so be it. But then Aurelia showed up. Something nobody tells you about growing up is that when you have difficult, tragic, traumatic experiences, you have to deal with them right there, or refuse to, move on, and never deal with them at all. Most people don't go to therapy, especially if you're African. We stomach our pain. Sometimes it happens to children. They don't even have the mental capacity to understand what's happening to them, to know that this one thing will haunt them for years to come. They hide it so far that they don't even realize they've built themselves into a wall so high that they can't climb over. They become walking embodiments of their trauma. They lug it everywhere they go without even knowing. It becomes a silent companion, lulling them to sleep every night. This thing, this sickness, this wound, festering, destroying a part of themselves. It manifests in several ways: anger, depression, drug abuse, sex addiction, cutting. But people don't give you grace. They don't see how damaged you are. I'm one of those children digging myself into walls, and so is she. But I give her grace. I let her be human and make mistakes even when it hurts me. I know what it's like to be abandoned, and I will never do that to her. I could never look at her, suffering, and do nothing. What's the point of having a companion if they leave? I wrote this trying to focus on every single moment we had spent together. I hope to capture the magic of us, but it's simply impossible to write about someone you spent so much time with effectively, to copy them exactly onto a page. I write this out of memory. When you go so long without talking to or seeing someone you've come to know so deeply, they become nothing but a memory to you. You start to forget things. But I wrote this out of love. I wrote this in a hope to express how I feel. That even in our darkest moments, it's never truly hopeless. Author's note: the concept of the wall and dealing with your trauma right then and there are inspired by lines from Kendrick Lamar's Anti-Diaries and an interview he did with Spotify in 2022.